Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here, and today we got to talk about push notifications because apparently governments can spy on us using push notifications. Now, this is actually really interesting. It's coming from Reuters, and here's what's going on. Unidentified governments are apparently surveilling smartphone users via their app's push notifications, and this is according to U.S. Senator Ron Wyden, who, if you know Ron Wyden, is basically a big friend of data privacy. So I like this dude when it comes to cybersecurity and privacy. Now, in a letter to the Department of Justice, Senator Wyden said that foreign officials were demanding data from Alphabet, which is a parent of Google, and also Apple as well. Now, the details were sparse, but the letter lays out yet another path in which governments can track smartphones. Now, apps of all kinds, as you might know, rely on push notifications to alert you to incoming message, breaking news, updates, all that kind of stuff. Usually it's audible dings or a visual indicator, at the top of the bar that lets you know if an email is there or your sports team won or whatever it is. Now, what users don't often realize is that almost all such notifications have to go over either Google or Apple servers, whether you're Android or iPhone. Now, that gives the two companies a rather unique insight into the traffic that is flowing from your apps to you. And it turns them into a, quote, unique position to facilitate government surveillance of how users are using particular apps, end quote. And that is according to Senator Wyden's letter to the DOJ. Now, he asked the DOJ to, quote, repeal or modify any policies, end quote, that hindered public discussions of push notification spying. In a statement, Apple said that Senator Wyden's letter gave them the opening they needed to share more details with the public about how governments monitored push notifications, meaning Apple was keeping this quiet for whatever reason, let's say legally, and now Senator Wyden just allowed them to talk. Quote, in this case, the federal government prohibited us from sharing any information. Now that this method has become public, we are updating our transparency reporting to detail these kinds of requests, end quote. And so in that case, why is the federal government prohibiting them from sharing that type of information? Now, Google said that it shared Wyden's, quote, commitment to keeping users informed about these requests, end quote. The Department of Justice did not return messages seeking comment on push notification surveillance or whether it had prevented Apple or Google from talking about it. And obviously, if Apple's saying that publicly, they're pretty much putting their money where their mouth is. They wouldn't say that lest they run afoul of U.S. law or defamation or something where the federal government might sue them for lying. Now, Wyden's letter cited a tip as the source of information about this surveillance. His staff did not elaborate on said tip, but a source familiar with the matter confirmed that both foreign and U.S. government agencies have been asking both Apple and Google for metadata related to push notifications. For example, to basically help tie anonymous users of messaging apps to specific Apple or Google accounts. So if you're a dissident and you're trying to basically, keep yourself off the grid, but you're logged in with that Gmail account or that Apple ID account, and now you're getting push notifications from, let's say, an app they suspect you're using, they might be able to track you in some way, shape, or form. Now, the source declined to identify the foreign governments involved in making these requests, but described them as democracies allied to the United States. So you can speculate all you want. I'm not going to. I'm not sure. Now, the source also said that they did not know how long basically this had been going on. And I think this is one of those important things where as you are looking at the sophistication of a smartphone, and stop thinking of your smartphone as an actual phone. It is a mobile computer that happens to be able to make phone calls for you, but you're using it way more than that. I mean, how much social media do you check? How much web browsing do you check? How many alerts do you get on news apps, sports apps, anything else that is in your digital life? Versus how many times do you actually make a phone call. So stop basically thinking of this as a phone and thinking of this as a mobile computer. And by virtue of that, mobile computers need threat detection, security, and privacy, just like a Windows desktop or laptop or a MacBook or anything else. And so if we are framing it in that way, it becomes a very huge issue. And we've seen threat vectors rise on mobile phones because we are increasingly a mobile society. We are much less tethered to, our desktop computers or laptops than we are our mobile phones, which are easy and portable. And so by virtue of that, if they're going to find ways to fingerprint us, which I've talked about, or data mine us, which I've talked about, and both Apple and Google data mine us, why not start fingerprinting or capturing metadata from push notifications to track us even more. So heads up if you're using them. Most of mine, for the record, are turned off because I find them annoying, but I think I'm going to turn the rest off, and maybe you should too. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP, where we should probably turn off the notifications. Same with YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe, stay online, and please, just please, please, please attempt to stay private. Thanks, everybody.